We looked already at shares in Montreal-based 5N Plus. It's a materials and semiconductor technology company. It's stepping up its investment in solar cell production as its backlog rises, rising defense demand, and a new investment from the U.S. Department of Defense, or Department of War, I should say, has excited investors. Let's walk us through the company's strategy. We're joined by Amr Ezzat, Managing Director and Deputy Head of Research at Ventum Capital Markets. Thanks very much indeed for joining us, Amr.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Can you remind us, what does 5N Plus do broadly? I mean, they're in all kinds of things, but what's their core business?
Think about it as three different businesses that are all mission critical. The first business is what you were just discussing. It's space solar cells. And obviously this is booming and they're benefiting from it. The second business is solar cells as well, but terrestrial solar cells, which are also mission critical, and they're the largest supplier to First Solar in a mission critical compound called CDTE. Then the third business is bismuth, which is what you find in Pepto-Bismol. So the two first businesses are growing like gangbusters, and the third one is outsized margins and just high visibility.
Bismuth, the element, yeah, it's interesting, used in Pepto-Bismol. But I thought the solar cells were a kind of commoditized business. How do they're able to compete with the Chinese, for example?
Oh, actually, it's not commoditized at all. When you think about the supply picture out west, there's only 3 Western players that can meet the technical and reliability requirements. And 5N Plus is one of these 3 players. The 2 other players are a division of Boeing and a division of Rocket Lab. And all these 3 players are capacity constrained, hence why the announcement today to increase their production by 25%.
But these are specialty solar cells for use on a space vehicle or a satellite, for example?
Correct. The technical word for what they do is a multi-junction solar cells that are germanium based. And when you think about the different sort of constellations we send into the LEO, MEO, and GEO, they sort of are able to supply their multi-junction solar cells everywhere. The only place where they don't really compete is VLEO, which is the very low Earth orbit.
And then the refining germanium, which we keep hearing a lot about, it's a crucial material in Utah, and they're going to step that up with almost $20 million from the U.S. government?
Correct. So they announced, or the U.S. government or the Department of War, as you mentioned, announced late last week an $18 million investment to expand domestic germanium refining capacity, essentially to 5N Plus. And germanium, the way to think about it in very layman terms, is a critical material used in night vision systems, infrared cameras, missile guidance, and the solar cells that power satellites, as we were discussing. So you don't see it as a consumer, but it is essential for modern defense systems, space infrastructure, and advanced imaging. And what's driving urgency is that most global supply has historically come from China. So the U.S. is focused on securing domestic reliable sources, and that's why this funding matters. And this, too, is what's driving the stock price of 5N Plus.
And I think a worry is that the Russians, too, have a grip on some of this rare earth market, and they're obviously a risk.
Correct. And that's why 5N Plus is becoming a much more critical supplier to the U.S. And I think investors are starting to realize that, hence the stock reaction.
I mean, shares hitting a record high today. Would you be a buyer of 5N Plus now with new money?
Definitely. We've got a $30 12-month target and a buy rating. The stock has performed extremely well, but what's changed is visibility. and the risk profile. And when risk comes out of the story and visibility improves, valuation frameworks adjust. Even without near-term estimate changes, recall like all of these sort of investments they're talking about will gradually happen in 2026. So they really hit your 2027 numbers. And what we tell a lot of our institutional clients, if you think you missed it, you haven't. These are multi-year structural tailwinds that are going to drive 5N plus for the next 10 years.
Wow. And they used to be a medical imaging material supplier, but they've certainly put themselves into a sweet spot now, some hot markets.
This is a very small part of the business, actually, that they don't speak about a lot, but it might drive the next leg of growth. We do not assign any value to that currently in our valuation.
Amr, thank you very much. You mean they don't talk much about the medical imaging?
Well, there's a lot of interesting other things happening in the story right now, but the medical imaging is still alive and kicking and might provide for a lot of growth in the future.
Fascinating. I just hope they don't get bought up and we lose another stock off the TSX. Sorry, we're almost out of time, but is there a risk that happens?
I agree. There is always a risk, but it seems like that is not the plan.
Thank you, Amr. Really appreciate it. Amr Ezzat, Managing Director and Deputy Head of Research at Ventum Capital Markets.